So one thing that I've been really thinking about in terms of my art practice is what it was like before the pandemic and then what it was like after. And so I was wanting to ask just people in general, but specifically the artists that I'm interviewing, what is something that you started doing or something you noticed that the society has implemented during lockdown that you think we should continue to do, whether it's art
Yeah,
related or otherwise?
that's interesting. Um, I guess that two kind of anecdotes. We'll see if this actually answers the question. But the first is kind of on the train of thought I was already on there, and I don't want to talk about St. Louis Obispo the whole time we're talking. But I was living in Portland during the pandemic, and it was very weird starting to draw a story set in small town California while living in Portland in 2020. Just very different mindset. And I think that sort of remoteness made me think about place in a different way. So that
Yeah.
definitely influenced my work. One thing that was funny for me is that I moved to Portland in 2017, and that was really when I was like trying to be like, okay, can I make a living as an artist and have this be my whole thing? And kind of like finding the rhythms of a day when I was just like, okay, my partner's also at real work. I'm in the house alone. How do I like construct a day where I don't lose my mind, get work done, keep the cat fed, manage to go for a walk? And I kind of like randomly got really fixated on baking, and I got really into sourdough. And this was in like 2018, 2019. And so there was a funny way where I felt like 2020 was like suddenly everybody had my lifestyle all of a sudden.
Right.
Um, yeah, I guess I don't know about like,
So you're saying
you
that
know,
basically we should all slow down and
yeah,
do things that
maybe.
we enjoy
Yeah.
more?
And I think the other thing that like I don't know if we implemented this in the pandemic, but I think it's sort of one of my takeaways was that it was so destabilizing for everybody that like I've tried and I can't say I've always succeeded at this, but I've tried to like give people a lot of grace for how what they said and what they did, just because we were
Yeah.
all sort of like having such a weird time.
Right.
And that's maybe something I should try to do all of the time,
For
like
sure.
don't try not to hold that grudge over something somebody said 3 years ago or whatever, it's
Yeah.
like we're all struggling to get by in the world and it's hard out there, right?
No, that's 100%. Yeah, no, I feel that.